She's lifting me. She's raising me. Can you hear her plead? Her name is Destiny. She calls me.
This is our foundation.
This is our foundation.
This is why we know church.
This is why we know church. Like when I said that in that video.
Before this building was here, the rooms upstairs, we would utilize those rooms, and then they would have the sanctuary section. Because we were not taught religion here.
We was not taught religion.
A non-denominational church. We were taught relationship with God.
We was taught relationship with God, not religion. You're absolutely right.
So what do you remember about Michael?
I remember him sharing a lot with me, and I used to give rides to the place where he was staying, and we used to meet up at the 24 Hour on Riverside Drive. It was on Riverside Drive, and I remember when he got sick. He had pneumonia. He died of pneumonia. Yeah.
I think he was just more so tired than anything. Yeah. Because pneumonia, right? You can heal from that. You can stay in the hospital.
I had one of my lungs taken out.
Yeah. I think he was tired of, he lived a hard life. Yeah. And I think he was just tired of waking up. Yeah. I think I got some type of
you look just like
that was my heart. My dad, I'm definitely a dad.
Oh, yeah.
I'm 32 now.
32?
Yeah.
So how long when he passed? What year when he passed?
2000.
2000, yeah.
Yeah.
No more than 18.
Yeah, that's no crack.
Yeah.
So he died in like 93, 94.
94.
Yeah, and then it's me. But my mom has 3 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. That pulpit right there, that's the old church for definitely pulpit.
These are all the groups and the meetings and we're in there included.
Okay, thank you. But yes, I just wanted to be coming around. I just wanted to show y'all. And thank you. It was so nice meeting you.
And I mean, you too.
What's your
Okay.
name?
Lord, we're calling it 28.
28. He knew my dad
Yeah.
very well. It is so refreshing. Because I carry him with me everywhere I go.
Yeah.
My
And
dad.
there is Denise over there.
Hi, Denise. How are you? Yeah. That's my dad, Michael Keith Lau.
That's so good. Oh my God. Like, yeah, that's like you picking up a part of his history. That's good. Okay, where we at?
Students of partners of addicts, they don't realize that they're codependent, and that's an addiction as well.
So how would you define codependency?
Enabling behavior.
Okay, and that's what you feel like your mom and dad
Yes,
did.
because she loved my
She
dad.
loved them, and so she's like, okay,
Look at Minister Lightning.
he over here again.
Yeah, when my dad was in one of these.
It
Oh,
would
you
have-
remember her? I know you remember her. You don't remember her?
Yes, I do. I remember her face. Your dad would be in pictures from the early and mid 90s. These look like early 2000s.
I did not expect to walk into that, being somebody who knew my dad. I almost wanted to cry, but I'm trying to take it like a G, you know.
But they say this.
He said he knew my dad very well, and that he would drop my dad off and pick him up, and I guess accountability partners in a sense.
Sponsor.
He didn't use those words, so I'm not gonna put words in the man's mouth, but I take a sense that they held each other accountable, and that he said my dad was a nice guy and informed him a lot on a lot of things. You know, so
Oh yeah,
that
yes.
was,
That is one thing
he
about
was very
your dad.
smart.
Very, very smart.
When I asked my dad the spelling of his name, how to spell his name, he would not tell me. He would tell me, figure it out, spell it out, follow this way. He wouldn't tell me. So my dad, he wanted us to think for ourselves, read for ourselves, you know,
Always find the truth for yourself.
for yourself. Don't let nobody tell you anything. You find, and you know what? What's crazy is, my mama tried to shove religion down my throat, but I think the other side of my DNA is about religion. And I think my dad taught me that very, very well.
Also, our grandfathers, they weren't religious men, and so like the stuff that they would say was like my wheels spin. I'm like, well, they telling us this over here, and you saying it. I'm like, you know what? Y'all ain't finna confuse me. I finna just find out for myself. I know how to read.
I want to get a shot in the front.
We started the bell.
Me and my dad used to take pictures up here after his meetings, and one day I asked him, "Why you always, you know, take pictures with me after his meetings?" And he would always tell me, because if I didn't have you, I wouldn't keep going. And I guess the picture, you know, 'cause that's back then when you had the Polaroid, you take the picture come out immediately. Yeah, I know what I'm saying.
Sitting here, glancing back over my life, rehearsing all the heartaches, the stresses and strife. It seems that longevity had launched me against the rocks of adversity, discarded me into hell's dungeon, and then left for dead. And though I've had many triumphs, it's been hard to lift my head. But I know what it's like to be hungry and begging for bread. But in spite of all, I was determined not to settle for mediocrity, but sought a standard of excellence. And I'm tired of folks looking at me, thinking I ain't got good sense. Because what nobody knew, she was calling me. She was kicking in my womb. It was my destiny.
And we coming up on where we lived when we were born, and I was 4. It's right.
She was in the back.
No, it wasn't in the back. She told you that so you wouldn't be asking no questions, but it was right here. Right here. 1520. Is where we stayed when you were born.
How big was that?
That is
Look at town. They pretty
they
decent
look
size.
small, but
They big
inside
on the
they are
inside.
huge. But I used to, that second window at the top, I used to be in that window watching my mama. I used to get my hair pressed out. Used to hate that shit. I probably still got some scars on my forehead and on my neck from getting my hair pressed on that porch. And I remember I would watch kids play up and down this hill. So my mom wouldn't let me outside. If it was too many kids or if certain kids was out here, wasn't happening. But there was a few that I could come outside and play with. So, like, when I was 4, we had the car wreck that caused this scar on my forehead. And so, not being able to play with kids before the car wreck and then having to be isolated and not be able to make facial expressions and do certain things so I could heal properly, it was kind of torturous. Because I would sit and I would just watch kids play and I couldn't do it because I couldn't make facial expressions. So I think that's where I really learned how to keep a straight face at 4. Because there was no frowning allowed, so I wouldn't rip stitches up. So I kind of became a soldier living over here. But yeah, she was a baby. Stay right there, 1520.
1520 Chambers. Yeah, that was the address. My mama tell me it was back there. 1520 Chambers on my birth certificate. Why she tell me it was back there when I moved over here?
Girl, I remember I was in pre-K. I went to Morningside.
I moved here May 10th, 2018. This is after I lived in Houston for a while. Then I moved back home in 2013, I moved with my sister. And then I moved with my brother. And then I moved with my mom in about 2014. About two or 3 months before I had Jason. I moved with my mom. And I stayed with her from that point on outside of, when we have, disputes or what have you. Disagreements, and I'll leave and come back and leave and come back because it was difficult for me to find a house, not because I couldn't pay my bills, because I've never been evicted. never had a broken lease, but because of my background, essentially, I took a charge for a friend that I worked with because I didn't want to snitch. I didn't want to tell. And so I just took it because I felt like, I didn't have no priors. She was a mom. She had multiple children. I didn't. I only had one at the time. And I don't know. It cost me in the end, but I felt like, she needed more than I needed. And I did. I took that.
So how did you get this apartment right here? And what was the transition?
I got tired of dealing with my mom's stuff and issues at home with her, and so I had been filling out applications, and I think it boiled down to it was 12:05. I'm just moving out the heat, but I think what it boiled down for me was before moving here, because once I got older and got on my own, I moved to nice neighborhoods. I had nice things. I had good jobs, corporate jobs. I worked for a company called A.N. Hewitt and Fortune 500 companies. So for me, when I got older, my living changed and things of that nature. But once I got the charge, it also changed again. And so I hadn't fully wrapped my mind around that or understood that people were not going to give me a chance because I had a background. So I was caught up in, so when you change your life, you don't want to go back to the struggle. You don't want to go back to, living a certain way in certain conditions. And for me, it definitely was that. So I spent a lot of time trying to get into places that I had taken myself from once I took that charge for somebody else. So, just said, Lord, whatever you give me at this point, I'll take it, And about 2 weeks later, I get a mail from Butler Place, a letter in the mail from Butler Place saying that my application came up. Because what's crazy is when I first moved back, I filled out an application here, not really wanting to be here, but just like, whatever, I fill it out. And I want to say that was in, 2013, 2014. So about 4 years later, 5 years later, after I prayed that prayer, I got that letter in the mail. So that's how I ended up here. I just said, you know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick it out. Because I was really on a journey of trying to prove to myself that I can do it. I can do it on my own. I can make it on my own, regardless of what the situation is, regardless of what the circumstance is. And honestly, moving here was a culture shock for me because I did not grow up in this type of environment. I did not grow. We grew up without having a lot, but we didn't grow up in a poverty environment, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So for me, my sister has more memories than I do, but for me, I didn't grow up here. So coming here was absolutely a culture shock for
Now,
me.
we didn't live here long. We didn't live here long because people would always come by and looking at how mama kept us, clean and dressed
my mama
nice.
kept us starched
People
down.
would be like, you don't belong over here. What you doing over here?
What you doing over here? We
here?
always had nice clothes. We always had nice shoes. Up until we got in like middle school, high school, I feel like.
Okay, so with that, I think that's when my mom really went through something mentally, and she kind of like just checked out.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like in our journey, you came back to where where mama was when she got saved. We stayed there. You lived over here. You had it. I see a lot of symbolic things in
I
our
stay right
personal
here,
journeys.
I moved
In
to
our journeys.
1205 East 14th Street. I'm not ashamed because it built me, made me, molded me, and helped me to see. Look, y'all, the mat still there, my mat. I lived here almost 3 years ago. It's still here. And this mat said, welcome home. And, yeah, I lived here with my kids. And it was an experience for us. I didn't let them go outside because my kids grew up sheltered, but you know, they grew up without struggle. My kids didn't have struggle. My kids don't know what it's like to be without lights, to be without water. And I know the kids in this apartment complex moving over here did not grow up and was not being raised like my children. I believe that children should be children and not be children, you know, being grown children, that they should be children. So I kind of kept them and sheltered them and shielded them. Like sometimes they could go outside and play, don't get me wrong, because we stay right across the street from the basketball court. But for the most part, I wouldn't. And when I moved here, I specifically asked the lady to put me by the daycare center and older people because my neighbor here, they were older people. And I didn't have a neighbor on the side of me because I didn't want to be around the noise. I didn't want to be around the chatter. I didn't want to be around the mess and the things that was going on up that way because I was really trying to stabilize my household and stabilize essentially essentially I did the same thing my mom did.
It was like a full circle cycle thing because how your attitude was and your mentality was when you was over here, it reminded me so much of how mom was with us, especially after that wreck. And my mirror experience to mom happened in 2019 when I found out I was having Xander. So it didn't take me having to come back here. It took me having 2 girls and a boy, like my mom, to like kind of like, okay, these cycles, whatever, this trauma, this pain, whatever happened to her has gotten passed down, and I need to break this.
That's what happened to me too, living here. Realizing that my mom went into labor here with me and brought me back here, and realizing that, you know, my mom essentially, in a sense, started here because I don't know where she stayed. Prince Hall.
Prince Hall was after this.
Prince Hall was after this. Okay. Made me realize, Michelle, you gotta get on your shit. You know, you gotta not follow in the same footsteps. You gotta break the curse. You gotta do something different. You can't succumb to your situation and your circumstance. You have to rise above. It doesn't matter what's being thrown at you, because in that time, 2018 was a trying year from not a lot of people, but Cora, you know, taking my son and then having to deal with family trying to come in and take my oldest. It was a lot. 2018 was a hard year for me. The biggest blessing out of 2018, although these are the projects, the biggest blessing for me in 2018 was being able to come here and have my own place, regardless of what it was, in my own name, paying my bills on my own, doing it on my own without the help of a man or a friend who's supposed to be my friend but really not my friend. So I was really able to reestablish myself, and while being here I was able to save money. I was able to get a job and keep a job. Even with my background, I started working for a company called Amber Intelligence, who does the pharmaceutical and drug sides for the FBI and the DEA. So while being here, I was able to acquire that job, and I knew that it was a test of diligence, and a test of being on time, and a test of being determined to go through the process to get to the other side. So not only did I acquire that job while living here, I kept that job the whole time I was living here. I took my credit from a 430 to a 686 while living here. I got a car. I've always had a car, but I had lost my truck, and I got another car, and I kept up with the notes, to even help my credit further. So where I was able to buy that car off, and I did what I needed to do so that by the end of December 2020, I had moved me and my kids from 1205 East 14th Street to Keller, Texas, in a 4-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, front yard, backyard with a pear tree in the back, which was the highlight of the kids. But it definitely took endurance, and it definitely took sacrifice. But I was determined, because I think if I did not come here, I probably would have still been swallowed at 4416 East Kelly Street. And I think by coming here, it motivated me to be better, to do better, to move, it really showed me that I could do it on my own.
Living in all these different apartments, and I'm teaching. Like Michelle she's always been the princess, but like she's pretty because of me. I've always,
and my dad.
I taught her how to lay tracks.
Mm-hmm. She
taught
put
her
a hole in the back of my head. Remember that? She scalped me, bro, and it's still there. But a little hurt grown over it, but she did. She dropped a big old glob. Ooh, mama was mad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we had to figure it out. So I was always planning makeup, so I was always showing her how to do things, and we was always making up dances. We always shared a room.
That's what I told the people.
I
would have just been happy if I had my own room, my own bed. I ain't never had my own room and bed until I got older and got my own.
It was one time. Remember when we was at Shelter had got a bedroom?
Yeah.
Before we did, we was still making pallets, but we finally got a bunk bed.
When we lived on his, we
finally got a bunk bed. Shelter and my mama, they had bedrooms.
Yeah.
Me and Michelle, I was like, you know what? We finna make this room our own. We stacked up tons of quilts to make our bed. She was on one side of the room, I was on the other, and we would have pictures and sayings that we would put all over the wall. We would manifest as kids.
Yeah. She started out there with us.
And I'm like, okay, this is the plan. You gotta write it out. They always say, write the vision, make it plain.
Rearrange furniture, clean up. She was definitely mama too.
Yeah, so
then she got older and didn't want to hang with me no more. She didn't love me no more.
I always loved Michelle. If I
didn't love you,
friends. No, if I didn't love you, I wouldn't have told you.
What's that name? Christine. Ooh, I had to get it right.
AKA Kay.
Kay. I like Kay.
Yeah, she's still cool. Hey, Tony.
And Courtney.
Yeah, Courtney, Crystal.
Crystal Franklin.
I just grew up. I'm 4 years older, so I just grew up. But I never stopped loving myself. I would always tell you.
She didn't love me.
That's not true, because if I didn't love you, I wouldn't forewarn you about people.
You ain't gotta get out seriously.
I would always tell you. I would always say, she ain't right. Now, you cannot tell me I would not tell you about people. But, girl, don't start that. That's the thing she used to do as a kid, because I used to get in trouble if she would cry. So she would make fun. I would be playing with it. Oh, you hurting me, knowing that it was gonna get me in trouble. So that's why she's doing that. You so messy. But
okay, the takeaway from this
my baby, I'm just holding her.
And y'all,
she don't like
I'm not a real affectionate person. Like with my kids, I am, but with people, I just don't like it. But the takeaway, I guess, from this episode and is foundation. You know, it's not about where you start. It's definitely about where you finish, and to not be ashamed of your beginnings or your process or your journey, because it definitely validates your existence and it definitely makes you who you are. I think life is such a beautiful lesson in itself, you know, and if you pay attention to the lesson, you can pass it. And I feel like my sister definitely had a hand in shaping and molding me, growing up and just really through life. I don't think she really understands how much I looked up to her.
I know you did, girl. I know you did.
Woo! Try not to cry, Lord. I'm so sick of crying. I looked up to my sister a lot, you know, because, like I said earlier,
She still do, low key.
my mom wasn't really. She was there, but she was more into, I think, trying to save herself, and that took a lot away from her actually being there as a mother and as a parent. And my sister and my aunt Shay definitely, and my aunt Cheryl.
I was determined to not be in
Okay,
survival
you
mode.
talk.
I'm
I
sorry.
talk.
I was just
No,
saying,
you talk.
yeah,
I
like,
talk.
no, we gonna
It's my
thrive
time
around
to talk.
here.
Okay, come here, but you gotta stand right here. Cause I'm talking. I didn't interrupt. Right? I didn't interrupt her. Okay, my time. Who am I with you? So she. No, you know you gotta stand right here. She. Come on, we gotta go.
Did y'all catch
We
that?
gotta go. You got water right here.
Okay, come on, keep talking.
So, a lot of my mannerisms, whether my sister knows it or not, comes from her. I'm just a little bit more understanding and calmer and nicer, where she's more stiff, I would say, instead of mean. And I'm still talking. Stiff. You see, I don't understand what that is. Like people always cut me off, but I let them talk. You know, I'm trying to talk. No, you
I'm not
interrupt.
stopping you. I'm just ad-libbing.
Okay, don't ad lib. Okay, I didn't ad lib on her, but I didn't. I can't even get it out. Okay, so basically, my sister is that chick, and the takeaway I got from because I can't even go around trying to go. Thank you. The takeaway I got from this and just filming this part of the documentary, she trying to sit down, is that you do have family, and I do have family, and I've always had family that loved and supported me. Just because they're not in the forefront doesn't mean that they're not there and that they're not helping and supporting. None of what I did, including having my children and raising my children, I did not just do it on my own. I definitely had my family, and regardless of my mom's and I's issues and struggles and our mother and during relationship, my mother helped me tremendously. Now, was it always in the way it should have been done? No, but no, I'm not. I already told the people I think. Was it already always done in the correct way? Maybe not, but most definitely not. But she definitely did help me. My sister helped me. My brother helped me. My aunt Shay, man, I don't think I would have survived without Aunt Shay. Willette Lachey Powell. I'm actually named after her. My dad named me after her. I wouldn't have survived definitely without Aunt Shay and my sister. So that's what I got, foundation.
I gotta get that sunlight.
But that's where she's like a way more aggressive and in your face with things. I'm not. I like to make sure things are okay beforehand. She's like, well, let's just go see. And I think sometimes maybe that's what makes the difference between her experiences and mine. Because baby, she's not scared of nothing. And I'm not scared either. I just like to be in order. She's very abrasive compared to me. Very, very much so. And how she is, she's always been like that. She's big personality, don't meet a stranger. She's always been like that. But I like to say I have a lot to do with it because, like she said, I was her protector. I would look out. So she could be like that because I was always going to be somewhere nearby in the background watching and then, talking to her later on or letting her know, hey, bring it in or come back over here. Now that she's gone, she'll listen to me, but after the fact. She used to listen to me before the fact, but now.
Hey, hi. This is Prophetess Sandy Love, and I am not all dialed up. Well, a little bit, but not a whole lot. It is my hope and prayer that you heard and that you're listening to everything that happened tonight. Did you see the little girl? Her foundation, how she remembered her dad, seeing him as king and even a god. A little girl who felt protected. Now, my kids are grown, and I understand that when you are a child, you see things through the lens of your own shoes. And so where somebody else may come along and say, well, that didn't really happen. It's her story. It's her memory. Isn't it funny how we'll kill the dream of a memory instead of seeing how the memory lit up hope, ignited purpose? So this week, that's the first thing I wanted you to get out of it. The second thing is this. You don't get to see the behind scene. You don't get to see the healing that's taking place, the tears that are shed, the words that they never had a chance to say. It's coming out. And I'm proud of them. So to them, Michelle and Shalonda, thank you for your honesty. I served in the military, and where we were accustomed once war happened for civilians, because that's what we call you non-military people, to come up and say thank you for your service when they failed to have the words to articulate our servitude, our loyalty to our country and allegiance. Thank you was the only thing they could render that they felt would do justice. What do you do when someone speaks their truth, knowing it may possibly risk others looking bad? It's not the intention. It's not the purpose. They're just trying to speak their own truth through the eyes from their own shoes. Can y'all feel me? Give voice to pain is just that. We are a healing agent. I'm here, I'm walking, I'm talking. So much is going on behind the scene. But what we're doing is not made up. It's not scripted. It's not vindictive. It's not trying to prove. It's just God said to do something a little different, and I'm obeying him. That's all that's happening. Here's what I want tonight. As of, this is probably Wednesday. a few days before the second half of the second episode airs. We are currently at 1,900 viewers, 176, I believe, subscribers. Do me a favor. If you felt anything tonight, can you please go to the front of the YouTube page and click the link that says Bring Jason Home and donate something? If I was a big name preacher or a big name prophet and told you I had a word, sow a seed, you would do it. I'm not asking you to do it to get something in return. I'm asking you to sow a seed that would help bring not just Jason home, but one day it might be your kid that's missing, or maybe you had a child taken away, losing him to CPS or governmental structures that was unfair and unjust. That's what I'm asking you to do. You're sowing it on behalf of your own nieces, your own nephews, those that are incarcerated unjustly. I'm asking you to take a seed and put it in the hands of a legal system that would help her fight. This is not about her being perfect. She's been very open and honest about her life. This is about helping somebody fight. A $5 or $10, anything you can do, I'm asking that though the subscribers are good, please keep them coming. But at the same time, can we just help a little bit? You never know that the seed that you're sowing might be something you need to call in heaven about. Is that all right? Can we agree with that? And lastly, let me close with this. Over the next few weeks, as things begin to go deep and unravel, I am asking you to consider this. We're not attacking. We're not talking about anybody. We're not trying to make anybody look bad. I need that to be understood. She's telling her story. The anger, the hurt, the disappointment, it's coming out in a calm way. She's finding and rediscovering that God had not forgotten her, that she's not left alone. Now, you know what, folks? You're not saved. This ain't for you. But if you can relate to it, this is for you. We're too judgmental. And every one of us have a story. And we weren't totally innocent, nor were we all the way guilty. But we wanted someone to believe in us, to give us another chance. Is not what church is all about. So I'm supposed to save your child and lose mine. I'm supposed to do everything I can do to help the one that is in the popular viewpoint and kill this one. Where is the spirit of the Good Samaritan? How long will we continue, as in the story of the Good Samaritan, to keep walking over wounded and hurting people because we are afraid to take a stand with the hurting because it's not popular? Did Christ do that to you? He gave his life for you, and you don't even serve him. You don't even believe in him, but he still gave it. So you telling me to give a gift? Say, hear somebody else's story and encourage them? It's hurtful? It's mean-spirited? Are you serious? Where is the human compassion? Lastly, and it's my last close, I'm sorry for how you were hurting and nobody came to your aid. But I assure you that God has not forgotten you. And though this technique is different and it will be criticized, I didn't do it for that. I did it because God sent someone to stand with me, a prophet by the name of Aaron Ash, when the world and the giants were coming for my throat. And that great man of God stood with me, guarded me, protected me, and fought with me. And God reminded me, if he did it for you, cannot you stand for somebody else? So I know the man of God is gone. But I think out of my own mouth, I didn't even plan on saying it tonight, but I'm saying it to say I heard God. And that's why I do what I do. Free of charge. Don't cost nothing. Don't want nothing. Sometimes you just need to be supported. If you're interested in what we're doing, and hey, maybe you got a story to tell. Some things you need resolved. To my PK kids who are very silent and have left church, you're hurting, you're dying. Can we tell your story? Can we talk about it? Whatever the story is, trust me, email me or us at voice2pain.org. And I'm sorry, I should have gave you the beginning. Engage at voice2pain.org. Check out the website. Go to www.voicetopain.org. The website is new. We're still getting members in, and we'll put footage in there, a private conversation. I even got a couple mini movies I did from film school that I thought were cool. They ain't got nothing to do with spiritual, but I'm an amateur, but I love what I do. I love what I do. And for you that, went through the whole lawnmower thing last week, thank you. We didn't want it to be raw, not quite that raw, but we either had to scrap it or just keep it honest, and we kept it honest. So for those that showed love, thank you, because you saw the heart. Those that saw the content and got past the criticisms, thank you. And those that said nothing, thank you even the more. But I know tonight you felt what was going on. You saw what was going on. And with that being said, I am Prophetess Sandy Love, and it has been my pleasure speaking with you tonight. God bless and have a wonderful week or weekend.
Lifting me, she's raising me. Can you hear her plea? Her name is Destiny. She calls me. Listen to the waves of her voices that make love to your eardrums, bidding soft paradiddles of passion, sending warm repetitive echoes into your heart, penetrating unprotected sickness into your spirit to make you pregnant so that her words can be made